Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is our first lesson in our month-long for July, twice a week, all the way to July 31st, training specifically for the goal of obtaining a Google Level 1 certification. Now, you do not need to become certified in order to take this. That doesn't even have to be your goal. If your goal is to just get a little bit more comfortable with some of this educational technology, great. If your goal is to get certified, then it will require a little bit more work on your part. It will require you practicing a bit more and doing some of the assignments and reaching out to me for help if you need it. But no matter what your goal is, that's completely fine. We have a lot of people that express interest in this. So all of you are coming at this from different angles. Some of you want to just get a little bit better in your classroom by implementing some Google stuff. Great. Some of you said that you just want to learn how to be more efficient with educational technology. Awesome. Some of you have no confidence whatsoever and are basically learning all of this for the first time, and that's fine too. So every single one of you, I just encourage you to examine your reasons for wanting this and to actually measure out and assess where you're at with all of this stuff. And if we are doing a topic that you already know, then just help others. You don't necessarily have to do all of those assignments if you already know how to do them, because there is some stuff here that you probably already know how to do. There are some trainings about Gmail, and maybe you use Gmail a lot and you know everything about it. Great. Now, we cover some basic functions of Gmail and other apps, but we also get into a little bit more of the organization with using filters and labels and things like that. So if you already know that, then you know during that week, maybe you dig deeper and you try looking for your own materials for some advanced features. But this is our class. We have our Google Classroom page already set up. If you are watching this and you did not receive an invitation, please reach out to me. This is going on my YouTube channel, but all of the work is embedded into Google Classroom, and all of our additional resources is in Google Classroom. So you want to have access to this. Now, as you can see, we are going to be doing this from July 6th to the 31st, and I already have on the classwork page. So far, one thing is up, the syllabus. By the time you guys are watching this, unless it's uploaded to YouTube early and you watch it before Monday, then you'll have more stuff in here, specifically under Unit 1, Introduction to Edtech. But as of right now, as you can see, I have the syllabus up there. Some of you have already started looking at that. Now, the stream page is this first page that you get to when you log into our Google Classroom. And this is where I can post announcements like I did here. This first announcement that I have actually gives you the link to the Teacher Center, which is run by Google. Now, I'm going to show you what this looks like. Hopefully it doesn't need me to sign in, and it does, but I'll go ahead and do that real quick. This is their fundamentals training. Now, they actually go through and they teach you everything that you need for the exam, and I do recommend doing this. It does get tedious. It is a bit boring, and I will teach you almost all of this in my own way, but just take a look at some of this stuff and just go through some of the things quickly, and you could normally test out of stuff, like as it says here. If you already know this material, feel free to skip to the unit review at the end. But at the very least, look at the objectives and look at the products that they're going to cover. Now, this is the introductory unit, but let's say I click on, let's go back to training and go to fundamentals training. And let's say I'm going to do all the way down to Unit 6. If it loads and you see all the objectives, it tells you what products are covered. The reason why I recommend doing that is because if you do that for every single lesson and unit that they have, you'll at least see what products you need to be familiar with. And there is a lot of them. Some of them you know, some of them might be new to you, but we will cover as much as we can in this time. But this is the fundamentals training that Google has, and I recommend going through this simultaneously with our own stuff. But back to our own Google Classroom page. As you can see, you have access to post anything that you want here. You could post links, you could ask questions, and everybody will be able to see this. So Kira thanked me for doing this. You're welcome. And Lori said that this is a great banner page, and she hopes that hers can look just as good when we're done. It will. I will give you some advanced features because the exam doesn't test you on if you can make a banner. This is more of an ancillary thing that you can learn, but it's actually pretty simple. I just do it in Google Slides. You just need the correct dimensions, and then I use an add-on for Bitmoji. As you can see up in the right-hand corner here, I can do my own Bitmojis. Now, getting back to the actual details of the course, because that's what you want to learn right now in this video. Now, the way this is going to work is I'm going to post things every Monday morning and every Friday morning. And we have some objectives that we want covered throughout the next month. And we specifically want to be able to utilize G Suite apps in the classroom. You need to be able to identify which apps are actually going to be helpful to you and use them inside of the classroom. But you also want to become more efficient with G Suite, which is all the Google apps, in a professional and personal setting. You need to know how to organize your Google Drive. You need to know where to find documents, how to collaborate with other people, how to change the sharing settings so that way people could have editing access and everybody work on one document, or how your parents can see documents without changing them. You also want to be able to offer targeted digital feedback to students. In addition, this is just going to increase the means of communication with students and parents, because that's a lot of what Google actually teaches in their own teaching center, is how to communicate better and how to be more efficient, and they use their G Suite apps to do so. And lastly, just be able to use technology more comfortably in the classroom. Now, this is a basic course, so if you think that some of this stuff is too easy, then dig deeper. I still recommend doing it. I still recommend watching. You could fast forward if you need to. You could skip around if you need to. You could do things at your own pace. But look elsewhere for information then. Or maybe take the exam early. Now, the Google Level 1 certification exam is a 3-hour long test, but it doesn't always take people 3 hours. It took me 2 hours. Now, I am more comfortable with this stuff than some of you, but it can be done quicker. It's a mix of multiple choice, and then they give you what they call scenarios, which is they tell you to do stuff with G Suite apps. I can't go into too much detail with that because I did sign a non-disclosure with them, but they'll tell you to do something as a teacher. Find a document, post something on Google Classroom, create something in Google Docs, share something with somebody, email somebody an attachment, anything like that. They'll ask you to do those different things, and that's how you're kind of tested. If you feel like you already know all this stuff, take the exam early and use this time to help others and use this time to prepare for maybe Google Level 2 certification. So how is this course actually going to work? Like I said, every Monday and Friday by 8 a.m. on Google Classroom, I'm going to upload the lessons. Now, all of the lessons are going to be on Google Classroom, but there's going to be one Google slide deck that's going to hold all of our lessons. So any videos, any tasks, any forms like pre-assessments, post-assessments, just to measure how you guys are doing, it's going to be embedded into the slideshow. And there's only going to be one slideshow. Now, the way that this would work, I'll show you. I'll go into what I did because I did a very similar thing with my students. I'm going to go into Google Slides and I'm going to click on my 9th grade lessons that I had all throughout. Now, as you can see, I stopped labeling it towards May 20th when we were just reviewing different things, but I had a lot of lessons from the time we started digital learning, and there's a lot of slides in here. There's 169 slides. Now, the students had access to this one document the entire time, but that does not mean that all these lessons were already here, because lesson 1 is actually all the way down at the bottom. This was lesson 1. And this is all they saw when lesson 1 came. But then when lesson 2 came, I put that on top of lesson 1. And I just keep dragging the slides over. And then over the course of time, there's all of them. This is what I'm going to be doing with our course, where I'm going to have lesson 1 here. And at first, you're only going to see lesson 1. But then when Friday comes, I'm going to put lesson 2 slides on top of lesson 1. And so what you'll do is you'll log into Google Classroom, you will go to the classwork page, and then under the unit that we're in, So this is Unit 1 for Monday, but then there's also Unit 2. So the slides are actually going to be right up at the top. I'm going to put it in our lesson slides, and you're just going to go there and you're going to click on it each time. And you're going to go through the slides in chronological order. There'll be a video like this one. There'll be some instructions on some tasks. There might be something that sends you to a different website. And then what's going to be put underneath these units is the actual assignments. Now, the assignments are done at your own pace. It's not like I'm grading them or anything, but it's always better when you're learning actually how to do something and then you go and do it. So very early on in the course, there won't be too much to do. But then when we get to some other apps like Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Forms, I'll have you creating some of that stuff and practicing, and then you can upload it here, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll offer you some suggestions. If you are struggling, you can reach out to me and I'll help. But that's how our course is going to be organized. There will be one slideshow right up at the top. And every Monday or Friday, I will add more slides to that one slideshow. And you'll just go in, much like my students did. You'll see the work. It'll be organized for you. If there's something that you actually have to do and assign, I'll actually put a Google Classroom logo right in the right-hand corner, just like I did here. And it'll be clickable. So you could actually click on it and it'll bring you to that exact assignment. So that's how our course is going to be structured. Now, again, you don't have to stress yourself out. If you can't do the assignments because of time constraints, then don't. At least watch the stuff, but try as much as you can to practice some of these skills. If you want to go off and practice on your own, fine. You don't have to do my specific assignments, especially if you already know how to do it and you're 100% confident on that. But it is going to be helpful because the exam has you do these things. And the best way to learn is to actually practice and do this. Now, I am going to be creating some audio-only files as an alternative to this type of video. And the reason for that is not everybody can sit down and watch a video like this and devote 30 minutes of their day to do that. Now, you could pause the video and you could get back to it at another time. You don't have to do everything at once. You could even listen to some of it in the background, but a lot of my videos, unlike this one, I'm going to be showing you how to do something. And so that's going to require actually watching it and then doing it yourself. But I understand that sometimes that could be difficult, so as much as I can, I'm going to create some podcasts. I'm going to create audio-only files, so that way it's easier to listen to in the car, on a walk, if you're cleaning, if you're out and about, you can listen to a podcast instead of having YouTube open and having to watch a video, which takes up more data, which doesn't always load if you're out and you're doing it on your phone. So I will do that, and there is a first one already up anywhere you listen to the podcasts, I think. I don't know if it's on iTunes or not, but I will have it linked in Google Classroom. But just to give you a sneak peek, even if you go to Spotify, or I know it's also on Pocket Casts, and you type in my name, you will see it comes up here. As you can tell, there's some podcast episodes. One, it's not the Teacher Cast one. That's a podcast that I did with a guy a couple years ago, but it's this Edtech training with Michael Krauszer. If you click on that, it will bring you to that page, and you'll see that this is Episode 1, Introduction to Edtech, which covers what I'm covering right now. It's just there's no visual component. I'm just explaining things. And it's about 34 minutes long. If you ever think that my trainings are long, I apologize. I'm not going to be doing too much editing of them because it'll take a lot of time. But this is asynchronous, which means you can pause it. You can come back to it whenever you want. You don't have to listen to it straight through. That's the whole reason why we're doing pre-recorded. Now, getting back to our course, the only requirement is that you have internet access and a computer. You will have to watch some tutorials sometimes, and other times you could just listen to the audio. Now, helpful resources. I list a bunch here. These are all hyperlinked, which means you could click on it and it'll bring you straight to it. And I will point out some of my favorites here. The House of Edtech podcast, just as the name implies, is about Edtech. It is a great podcast. It's by a history teacher named Chris Nessie. He actually teaches in New Jersey. I met him a few times. Dan actually knows him as well. He does a fantastic job, and you can go and find him at chrisnessie.com, or if you look up House of Edtech on anywhere you listen to podcasts, you could find it. Listen to some of those. Find some topics that you're interested in. Sometimes they're Google related, and see what he has to say. Alice Keeler is another great one. Her website has a lot of helpful articles. She is a math teacher who also consults with Google to help them with Google Classroom and all of these other Google products. And she does a great job. She's big on organizing things. She's big on a lot of stuff to make students more engaged. Now, there's some other ones listed here as well that you can see on your own time. Just click them. Go deeper. The best way to learn all of this stuff is to immerse yourself in it, much like you would if you wanted to learn a language. Immerse yourself in educational technology and you will start becoming more comfortable. Now, full disclaimer, this course is not exclusively about pedagogy. It's going to help you with your teaching in the classroom, but for the most part, this is about using the right G Suite tools for the right purposes. And yes, it affects your teaching, but for some of you, it's not going to transform your teaching, at least not yet. Technology does not make the teacher makes the technology. In other words, you cannot rely on technology to make you a great teacher, but it can enhance already good teachers. It can make you more efficient. It can make you more engaging. It can help your students with learning. So do not think it's the end-all be-all, but as we've seen, there's a huge need right now to learn technology. There's a huge need right now for teachers to find ways to educate our students in a more effective way utilizing technology. So do yourself a favor, and as part of this course, take up some of these other podcasts. Listen to some of them. Some of them are short. Some of them are 20 or 30 minutes. Listen to in the car. See what they have to say. Learn some new tools. And I think that there's something for everybody. Now, lastly, I do have a schedule of topics here with some goals, but I am only going to update the goals as we get closer to it, because sometimes I might change the topic depending on questions that I'm getting. But as you can see, the first week is here. July 6th, which is Monday. This is Introduction to EdTech. We need to be able at the end of this to describe and analyze the benefits of using technology in the classroom. We need to be able to explain how technology, especially G Suite apps, help our teaching right now. And we need to be able to identify what tools Google offers for teachers and where we can go to find help. Those are actual things that are on the exam as well. And then Friday, we're going to take a look at Google Drive. Now, in talking with some of you, all of you are aware of Google Drive, but there are some of you that are confused as to what it actually is. And there's some of you that think that you don't use it, but you do, because Google Drive is actually the hub for all other Google products, which is why when you make a Google Doc, it's actually in Google Drive. When you attach anything in Google Classroom, it's actually in Google Drive. When you make a Google slideshow, it's actually in Google Drive. So we're going to be talking about how you can organize it. We're going to learn how to create folders, how to upload stuff, how to share folders, how to share documents. And we're going to take a look at that, and hopefully you'll learn something from it, because during the exam, I will tell you, you will definitely 100% have to use Google Drive throughout the entire thing. So we are going to take some time learning that on Friday. So that's really it. That is our goals here. This is our syllabus. Again, head on over to the Google Classroom that I created and ask some questions, comment on people's thoughts, share some links, share some podcasts that you guys have been listening to. If you hear something from one of those podcasts I recommended, go ahead and link that episode somewhere on the stream page so that others can listen to it. This is the way that we'll get better, is if we form a community together to actually take our skills and our interests and just encourage each other and learn how to become better teachers, especially with educational technology. Once again, there is an audio-only version of this, and there will be audio-only versions of other ones as well. Sometimes they don't fit as well because I'm doing tutorials, and so it's hard to do an audio only if I'm telling you how to do stuff, but I will do my best, and I will put it up there to help everybody. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I will see you in our virtual class.